Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Jackass of All Trades. Today what we got going on is we're back on the boat and we're doing some Starlink work. So I've had the Starlink Gen 2 for quite a number of years and it's worked pretty good. However, it's a bit of a power pig. Well, it went down on December 2nd and I struggled with it, going on and offline, so I figured it was a component failure. So my friend was kind enough to give me theirs, and first I thought it was a cable problem, then I thought, anyway, super long story short, agonizingly long story short, I couldn't get that one online either. Now, Starlink says when the Gen 2s go offline, they're really hard to get back online. So they pretty much send out Gen 3 equipment at your cost. So did some research. The friend that replaced their Gen 2 went to the Mini because they brought a boat up from California in November. Yeah, I know, pretty ballsy. Anyway, and he wanted to have the Mini in his carry-on baggage. So I did some research, and the Mini has some really cool features. First of all, it has a guest network, which the Gen 2 didn't have. And it also has a built-in onboard Ethernet connection, which is also the Gen 2 didn't have. You could buy an adapter cable, which I've got around here somewhere, maybe. Anyway, I had it. Doesn't matter. I'm not using it anymore. So I bought the Mini, and the reason why I did this, for a number of reasons. A, I couldn't get the Gen 2s to work, and the Mini will operate anywhere from 12 volt to 30 volt DC. So you do not need an adapter. You can go straight off your battery bus. One of the biggest problems I was having with the Gen 2 is when I logged into the boat, into the Victron system, which is this little guy here. Pretty fantastic, nice piece of kit. When it's online, I can log into it, I can do firmware updates and whatnot, and when it does the update, it shuts off the inverter, which cuts me off at the knees because Starlink goes down. Now, I won't have that issue because the Starlink will be fed directly from the DC bus. So that's a pretty nice piece of kit. Power efficiency, super better on power. The other one was pulling 70 to 80 watts, up to 150 watts if it was melting snow. The little guy, little Starlink, 30 watts. And because I'm going to be running it on 24 volts, right off the 24 volt bus, it's going to be that much more efficient. So that's a plus. So the other thing is, what's the decision, or what is the best way to use your Starlink? If you're set up in such a way that you just want to have your Starlink on and you want to watch your Netflix and get your email and that kind of stuff, go for it. Perfect. That's what you're going to do. But if you're a nutball like me and you've got a Google Home on board and you've tied in your heating system to Google Home and all your security cameras and whatnot that you've got on the boat, you may want to go to a third-party router. This is an Asus. I believe it's model 80. I'll put it somewhere in the description here as to what model this is. And the reason why I selected this model, for a number of reasons. First of all, it runs straight on 12 volt DC. So you can run it off your DC bus. If you've got a 24 volt boat like me, you will still have 12 volts on board through a DC to DC converter, because some of your electronics, radios and all that sort of stuff will always run on 12 volts. So you can't get away from it. So you should have 12 volts on board. This way you don't need to be running an inverter, a wall wart. I call these things wall warts. You don't need to run something like that. You can run it right off your DC. The other advantage, and what I'm quite excited about, is that unit over there this guy here, will work as a router. It'll also work in repeater mode. Now, repeater mode is pretty awesome. Say as an example, you're in a marina, like I'm in here right now. Good old Gibson's Marina, Gibson's, British Columbia. So I have limited Wi-Fi on my, or limited data on my Starlink. And so if I want to be on the boat, or I want to be connected to the boat and whatnot, and uploading this video as an example, why wouldn't I do it on the Starlink, or pardon me, on the Wi-Fi? But my television, my Google, all of that stuff, all is connected to the SSID that is the boat MV Gallivant. So if I want to watch TV, I got to go into the settings, I got to change it over to the Marina Wi-Fi, and you know, that's what I got to do. Well, if I put this router in repeater mode and then select the Marina Wi-Fi and repeat that, this unit has the ability to collect one SSID, so the Marina internet, and turn it around and rebroadcast it inside the boat using the same SSID that the boat is used to. So all of the devices connect instantly and seamlessly. So this works really well if you have free Wi-Fi at your yacht club. Well, hit the button, connect up to it. Now, one of the ways, the configuration is a little bit fussy. So what I did was I created a file. So I'll show with some screenshots and whatnot how I've done it. Basically, you can save the configuration in a router. So I've saved the configuration and I've called it Gibson's. I've saved a configuration and I've called it Yacht Club, or wherever that happens to be. So when I go to that place, I simply grab the configuration file and upload it to the router, and it's done. Really simple. So that's kind of how I've done it. So what we're doing today in the pouring rain is we're going to get this little Mini installed, and I won't lie to you, it's been installed. I'm just going to reinstall it because we've got some wiring tricks, and I'll get to that right now. Okay, so the Starlink Mini has got its own proprietary power source here, and it's got this little, come on baby, need two hands, got it. It has this little plug on it. This is a standard DC barrel plug. It's the same plug as this, except if you notice, this is, let me hold it against something. If you notice, it's ribbed for pleasure. This is a proprietary plug you cannot get. So you have to purchase it from either somebody that's already counterfeiting it or from Starlink directly. And what that does is not so important in here, but in the Mini, this is the power port. And what those, this is a gasket. This is a gasket, and it prevents water ingress. So you can't just shove any cord in there. I also want to do this. Let me pull this out of here. Oop. There. That is the RJ45 or Ethernet connection. That also has to have a gasket of sorts on it. So it pained me, but I bought this on Amazon. Cost me 40 bucks, but I think it's worth it. This is 16 feet long, combination cable. This, I'm hoping, fits inside the mast, which is a 1-inch stainless steel pole. I'm thinking it should. By eyeballs, it should. So that's going to come from above, down through here, down this column, underneath this filthy mess, and the router and whatnot is going to live in this locker down here. So I don't want to cut the end off because you see this, the other end is USB-C. Well, and then this USB-C adapter, which I can get off with my one hand, it's got another gasketed end on it. I don't want to cut that off to tie in to it. So while I was on Amazon, I got a bunch of these. Package of 10 for $4, I think. And this is the opposite side of this guy. Now, so now I can wire it to the DC bus, and I haven't hurt or bastardized any very expensive cables. The factory cable that comes with the Starlink Mini is super long. So, but you can do the same thing. You don't need to do the snip off and basically splice it in. Leave it 100% as is, and then you just hook onto it with our little cable end here. So that's the plan for today. Getting the Mini up on the pedestal and getting this wire run down. And if you look outside of the weather, it's blowing about 15. It's only about 6 degrees and it's raining. So I'm gonna get wet, but gotta get done. So let's talk a little bit about mounting. When the second gen came out, the mounts were really quite expensive. So I had to make my own because I'm cheap. Now the Starlink Mini is designed to be a mobile unit. So this clips in here somehow, like so, like that, and then it wasn't even in the frame. So this just clips in like that. Seems secure enough, and then when you're out on the road backpacking or whatever, point that north and you get yourself an internet connection. Now the fine people at Starlink were kind enough to provide this bracket as well, which is a pole mount. Got a Allen jam screw. They even provide an Allen key that clips in back here, and this kind of goes in like so. Now if you look, this is at an angle, so if your deck has an angle, you might be able to rotate this until it's flush. The way I'm going to be installing this is I'm going to make sure that this way is forward, because I want any of the driving rain, any of the sea spray coming this way, and this is going to be somewhat protected. So it's now started to rain extra hard. Now's the time to go outside. Awesome day to be doing this. So this is my mount that I made for the Gen 2. So this should come off. Now I'll put you down. Oh, it's gonna be close. Whether it goes, that adapter goes through this hole or not. Pray it does. There's the wire hole retriever. Let's just see if it fits this way. If it doesn't, I don't know what I'm gonna do. No, it's not gonna fit. That wire fits. Oh, just. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ha-ha. Oh. Cap came off. Did I break the clip? No, I don't think I did. All right. Let's get this stuffed up the hole. Persuasion. And come on, baby. Come on, the two of you. Right on. Get this guy up through here. This will fit way better. There you go. Thread this guy on. Okay. On. Go up through this bracket. And provide an Allen key. Hope you guys are warm and dry, because I'm not. Okay. Plug this in. Ethernet. Tower. Done. Click. Like that. Wires are protected from the major flow of water. So I'm gonna tidy that up under there on a dry day. Let's get inside where it's warm. Woohoo! All right, how much slack have we got to pull back? Okay, seems like enough to get at least under this dash, which is what I wanted to do. I'm going to leave enough room up there. I'm going to tuck it back up and then zip tie up there and then get that stuff down there. I'm going to leave enough room up there because I want to go across the overhead and then create a drip loop. So I want to go across the overhead up there, create a drip loop before I go down the hole, so any water that follows that wire doesn't come down this hole. All right, let's tidy this up down here. Nice platform where the router is going to sit. And my DC panel is right here. So I'm going to have to run a little bit of wire so I can plug in the DC system into that. But you know what? For sake of keeping this video a little bit shorter, I'm going to plug the router in. I'm going to plug this in to the wall wart. I'm not going to plug that into the wall wart. I'm going to plug this into the wall wart, and we'll just show you about the setup. You know, you guys don't need to see me how to run the wire and hook it up and whatnot. That's not why you started watching the video. All right, let's get to it. Okay, I had to factory reset the router because it had a brain fart. So when you power it up, you go through the search process to get to this stage, and then you can go to advanced settings, and then you can go AI mesh, whatever, and you can go upload here. Because we've had previous configurations, we're going to go to upload. This one is, I go to my router config, and I go to Starlink configuration, get this file and open and upload it to the router. That will take any of the internet protocol coming over the Ethernet, which is plugged into the WAN port. So onto the wide area network port in the back of the router, it's plugged in there, and the router configuration. So now we have to put Starlink in bypass mode. So here's the Starlink getting online, and it's right now showing offline. And now this was configured to, online, to provide network settings and network stuff for the entire boat. So connected devices, Nest Audio, my phone, Einstein, which is the Victron. So now we have to get risky here, and we have to turn the router into bypass mode right here on the bottom. And we got to turn it into bypass mode. And what that will do, it says here, bypass mode will completely disable the built-in Starlink Wi-Fi router. This is an advanced feature that requires a separate Starlink or third-party router. A manual factory reset will be required to reverse this. Here we go. Are you sure? Okay. And it's now going to try to connect, and it's not, because the router is turned off. So now we're going, disconnected. Perfect. Connect to a Wi-Fi. Let's prove it. It's not in the list. So now we'll turn our router on and see if we can connect to Starlink via the third-party router. Going to the router here and refreshing the page. Gallivant router. There. Internet status connected. There's my outside IP address and all of my internal stuff, and my client list will slowly build here. I've got 4 clients and everybody's catching up. So let's see if we can now manage the Starlink system through the phone app, which would be basically going through the router. There we are. I can see the Starlink. Instead of it having a name, it's now got some sort of serial number. My settings. So the antenna I can control. I can turn snow melt on and off still, which is fine. But software updates overnight. Yeah, okay. So, and on router, there's going to be nothing here because it can't. Oh, factory reset. Oh, right here in the software. Oh, that's sweet. So now I don't have to find that magic handshake button and wear an aluminum foil hat and stand outside with a paper clip and get this done. Alrighty. Okay, so now that it's all set up, I'll show you with this router how to go from your own Starlink Wi-Fi to a Marina or some other Wi-Fi once you've set it up. So I'll go through a manual configuration and just give you some sort of idea how this works. For those of you that aren't super familiar with routers and whatnot, I'll just go through that now. Okay, once you're in your router configuration here, and hopefully you guys can see this all right, you go to administration, and then you go mode, and you've got wireless router mode, access point, repeater mode. This is the one you want. So you go into repeater mode, you hit save, it says okay, and it's going to take you to this page here. So what it's done is it has scanned all of the Wi-Fi's in the area. So say as an example, this one right here is Gibson's Marina, and we're going to put in the password. I'm gonna, there we are. Next. Then we're going to say automatic IP. Now what's going to happen is it's going to take automatically on your 2.4 gig and your 5 gig networks, it's automatically just going to put your passwords, or pardon me, the Gibson's password that I entered in here, and I'm going to show it to you because I just typed in gobbledygook, because it really doesn't matter. This is just for so this turns into a repeater. But say you want to do exactly what I was saying earlier, where you want to now take the Gibson's Marina and you want to broadcast it inside your boat using your SSID. So at this point, you just go MV Gallivant and then the boat's password, and so forth and so on. So you would go through that process, you'd do that, and then you do the exact same thing. You'd go MV Gallivant here, and so forth and so on. I'm not a super typer. And then you would have your internal SSID password. Now you hit apply. And by hitting apply, it's going to upload this information into the router. Okay, so that configuration just went through. It did its whole thing. It connected to the local marina's Wi-Fi. And so now Starlink is turned off and I have full internet connected right here. MV Gallivant connected, secured. And my phone is chirping and going off because it's connected and secured. And my client list shows my appliances all connected and everything having the proper throughput. So having a router like this, allowing you to connect outside, and you can manage private networks and guest networks and all these sort of things. It's a pretty slick way of doing things, and you can properly manage the security of how you basically want it done. So this is the way I'm doing it. A Starlink system is really easy. Throw it up, but right when the Wi-Fi router is up on the bridge in the soaking wet rain, I don't have Wi-Fi signal in the engine room, so I have to rebroadcast the signal inside. So having that router that I can control, I can turn stuff on and off, I can do bandwidth. If I don't want to have a camera gobbling up a whole bunch of bandwidth, I can pull it back, and there's all kinds of settings that can be done for those of you that are familiar with how networking works. Also, this is going to be connected to my navigation system, so I can use Active Captain on the main Wi-Fi and all that sort of stuff. But that's all a bunch of gobbledygook later on. So basically the purpose of this video is exactly that, to show you that Starlink can be very, very simple, or you can also very, very simply make it better if that's what you want to do, and have more control. As well as now that if you have a router that you can put into repeater mode, you now have the ability to bring an outside Wi-Fi on board or into your caravan. If you're a ground yacht as opposed to a water yacht, you can now bring that campground Wi-Fi, bring it all inside your vehicle, or that marina Wi-Fi all inside your vehicle, but broadcast your own SSID internally, and you're not changing all your devices. All right, I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a like. We'll see you in the next one.